everyone and welcome to today's lesson. Today, we will learn about modes of communication. And the important points in today's chapter are communication in earlier times, means of communication, and mass communication. Now, before we get into the lesson, here is something to boost your knowledge. Communicating with one another is a need of the hour. The latest means of communication have made the world a small village. Can you name such means of communication? Well, what comes to my mind is a smartphone, which has made communication very easy for us. Communication is the sending and receiving of spoken or written messages between people at different places. About 5,000 years ago, humans developed languages to speak to each other or communicate with each other. They started writing their thoughts and ideas, first on clay tablets, then on palm leaves or skin of animals, and then finally on paper. People used to do this by hand, but then in 1443, Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing machine. Now, people could talk to many people at the same time. More books could be printed in less time. All these means of communication enabled us to communicate with each other. So let us learn more about communication. Communication in earlier times. In the past, people would send and receive messages only using pigeons or horse riders. But as time passed, new ways of communication developed, and so did modes of communication. So let us learn about some means of communication. Means of communication. Letters were a very common means of communication until a few decades back. We send letters through post offices. A postage stamp is the cost of sending a letter. A postage stamp tells a lot about the history and culture of a country. Post or letters sent by airmail reach faster than those sent by land or sea. Telegraph. The telegraph was invented by Samuel F.B. Morse in 1844. It was an early system of sending messages to distant places using wires. Later, the telegraph used the Morse code language. In this, each alphabet had its own dot and dash combination. The message was sent in the form of dots and dashes and was then decoded at the receiver's end. The telegraph helped send messages to any part of the world in a short time. Teleprinter. The teleprinter is an automatic typewriter printer. It uses the telegraph or other data communication lines to send messages. It prints the messages. A teleprinter converts typed words into electrical signals at the transmitting end. These signals are then converted back to typed words at the receiver's end. The teleprinter was invented by Frederick G. Creed in 1927. Through a teleprinter, we can send messages 3 times faster than a telegraph. Telephone. Telephone is the fastest means of communication. We can now use it to talk to people in different cities or even in different countries using the STD, subscriber trunk dialing, or the ISD, international subscriber dialing. Telephones are now available in all towns, cities, and villages. India has made great progress in the telecommunications sector. Telephone services now are much better and much cheaper than before. Cellular phones are also in use. Now, did you know Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in 1816? We can talk to people at any place using the telephone. The facsimile machine. The facsimile machine or the fax machine was invented by Alexander Bain in 1842. A fax machine is like a scan machine. It scans a document, makes it a digital image, and sends it to another fax machine. The fax machine on the other end downloads that image and then prints it. 2 fax machines are connected over a phone line. Fax machines have numbers. Now, did you know? Between 1973 and 1983, the count of the fax machines in America jumped from 30,000 to 300,000. By 1989, the number jumped to 4 million. Email. The email or electronic mail was invented by American Ray Tomlinson. We can send messages through the email and the internet through any part of the world using two computers. The Internet is a worldwide computer network. A user can connect his computer to any other computer in the world using the Internet. The email is a very inexpensive form of communication. We can send videos, pictures, or sounds along with text messages using the email. Each email account has a unique email address. The standard structure of an email address is username @ domain name. For example, myself@yahoo.com. Mass communication. When we have to communicate to a lot of people at the same time, we use the means of mass communication. Books, magazines, newspapers, television, radio, cinema, advertisements, and the Internet are means of mass communication. Printing. The printing press was invented by Johannes Gutenberg of Germany in 1443. The first printed newspaper was published in 1609. Printing includes books, magazines, and newspapers. They provide us with news and information from all over the world. A newspaper has something for everybody. It provides opinions, information, and news from all over the world. In India, newspapers and magazines are printed in English and in regional languages. Today, millions of books are printed every day. Popular books are also translated in other languages. This makes reading books easy. Books printed in one country are also easily available in another country. Radio and television. Those who cannot read or write listen and watch programs on the radio and television. These two means of mass communication have revolutionized our everyday life. We can now listen to news and discussions and also enjoy entertainment programs at our home. Radio and television have programs for students and for farmers. We can also watch films with our family at home or also get to know about the different events that are happening all around the world. We can also use the radio and television to know about the different cultures of people in different places. Now, did you know? The radio was invented by Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian scientist, in 1901. And the television was invented by Scottish inventor John Logie Baird in 1926. The Internet. The Internet was invented in America in the late 1950s to 1970s by a group of scientists. The Internet connects millions of computers together in a global network. One computer can communicate with any other computer as long as they are connected to the Internet. There are millions of websites on the Internet, and we can find information on any topic on those websites. Cinema. Cinema is the most popular means of mass communication. It helps us to spread knowledge, especially through short films called documentaries. Through cinema, we can know about the culture of people living in different parts of the world. The Lumiere brothers were the first to present motion picture, photographic pictures, and short films. In 1895, the Lumiere brothers invented the motion picture camera and then presented a film on screen. Advertisements. Another means of communication with the people are advertisements. Only people who are educated can deal with advertisements that are printed in newspapers or magazines. But even the illiterate can understand advertisements that come on radio and television. We can now see advertisements on the Internet as well. The government uses advertisements to tell people about the welfare programs. Every means of communication is useful in its own way. It helps us to keep in touch with our family, friends, and with the rest of the world. So here is a quick sum up of today's lesson. With the invention of the printing press, people could print more books in less time. Telegraph was an early system of sending messages through wires. Telephone is the fastest means of communication. The Internet is a worldwide computer network through which one user can connect one computer to any other computer in the world. So here is a glossary of today's lesson. Palm, a tree with no branches. Telegraph, a system of sending messages using telephone wires. Dashes, a symbol used in telegraph machines. Facsimile means an exact copy. Printing means production of books. Revolution means in favor of a new system. So here is a mind map of today's lesson. In earlier times, people used to communicate using pigeons and horse riders. There are many means of communication: letters, telephone, email, telegraph, facsimile machine, and the teleprinter. The means of mass communication are printing, advertisements, cinema, radio and television, and the internet.